Hello BookTube. Today I'm going to be doing the first part of my 2022 library tour. Just recently, Steve Donahue has started his 2022 library tour and has asked a number, or pretty much everybody else on BookTube, to join him in giving library tours. Um, Also, Michael K. Vaughan has been doing his books, the Time Forgot series, which started late last year. So I decided to join in on the fun. I'd been planning on doing a library tour when I hit 1,000 books, but I decided to go ahead and start it early. I'm going to do it now because, well, I should be hitting 950 by the end of this month. I will likely take a few more months to get to 1,000 properly. So we'll go ahead and start the library tour now, and I'll think of something else to celebrate me achieving 1,000 book or having 1,000 books in my library, which will be the largest amount of books I've ever had, which I'm currently the 900 and however many I have right now are the largest I've ever had. So anyway, let's get on to part one of my 2022 library tour. And like I started the last library tour I did, I'm going to begin with the cookbooks. Before I start showing you the books, some caveats. I haven't really cooked with many of them, in part because I have a set repertoire of dishes that I make that I really enjoy, that my mom really enjoys, and my mom doesn't really like to deviate much from that repertoire. Although I do like to try to expand my repertoire, add new dishes and new techniques to what I make. So that's why I have my cookbook collection. This is the third iteration of my cookbook collection. I had one when I was in college, and then I had one about before we moved into this apartment, and shortly afterwards, and then I got rid of that one, and then this one, which is the third and current one. So now, with all of that wool gathering, if not some navel gazing, let's get on with the books. And hopefully the audio on this video is much better than it was last night, or the first time I tried to make it, because I intended to, put this up on Monday, but the audio was horrible, so I decided to trash that video and start over. Also, the ergonomics were a bit problematic. So anyway, let's get on to the cookbooks. So the first cookbook is one of my favorites. It is the Gourmet Cookbook, edited by Ruth Reichel. Gourmet was a seminal culinary magazine in the United States that folded about 10-12 years ago, when Gourmet's publishing corporate overlord also had Bon Appetit in its roster, and the publisher decided they only wanted to keep one of the culinary magazines, and they decided to go with Bon Appetit and folded Gourmet. Before Gourmet folded, however, Ruth Reichel managed to edit two big, what I call anthology cookbooks. Anthology cookbooks are cookbooks that collect a large number of recipes from like a culinary magazine or a food section. Anyway, so I first discovered this cookbook at my local library, where a lot of the cookbooks I'm going to show you, I first discovered them, and I read them. I thought some of the recipes were great and I wanted to have them. So I ordered a copy of Gourmet. I think it was from Amazon. Um, might have been the Libras, but for sure Amazon. Uh, and then I got rid of it when I first moved in to this apartment and regretted it and wanted it back. So I reordered it. This copy's not as good as the first one I had, and the copy at my local library is long since withdrawn. Pissed me off royally when I found that out. But anyway, but I have cooked a few recipes from this cookbook. The lemon square recipe is wonderful. The Alfredo recipe, sauce recipe is pretty good. I want to try the tartar sauce. So yeah, definitely quite happy to have this and look forward to cooking more recipes from the Gourmet Cookbook. I also have the sequel anthology cookbook, Gourmet Today. Again, edited by Ruth Reichel. This has 1,000 more recipes, and I haven't really looked into it as much as I would like. I really need to have a go at this collection 2 or cookbook 2. And again, it was at my local library, and the last time I checked, this is 2 years ago and probably more like 3 or 4, I want to say they still have Gourmet Today. They just got rid of Gourmet. Anyway, the next cookbook is not one that I first discovered at my local library, although I think I vetted it through my local library because I wanted a cookbook for 2 people. Because oftentimes cookbooks have servings for 6, 8 people, and for 1 person or 2 people, that can either portion control problems or lots of leftovers that can go to waste. So I wanted a cookbook for 2 people, and one of the few that I saw was The Complete Cooking for 2 by America's Test Kitchen. America's Test Kitchen is a long-running cooking show on PBS that is affiliated with Cooks Illustrated magazine, which does a number of cookbooks too, and they have a big anthology cookbook that I've wanted for ages. So yeah, so I picked this up. I quite liked what I've seen. I've tried a few recipes from here. There's a garlic green bean recipe that is pretty good. I think I cooked the coleslaw recipe from this book too. Although I might also have used the coleslaw recipe to try to recreate my grandmother's one, because my mom loves coleslaw, and I've come to really enjoy it too. And I'm possibly going to try to make the pizza dough recipe from this book. Although I might also go for another one because, yeah, me and my mom can eat a large pizza, so I'm not entirely sure about the serving size on for their pizza. So anyway, moving on to the national and regional cuisines. The first book is Martha's American Food, written by Martha Stewart. This is one of my favorite cookbooks. I've cooked a lot of recipes from here. So the book is divided roughly into 6 parts. The first part is All-American, dishes that all Americans more than likely eat. And then the next 5 sections are regional. The Northeast, the South, the Midwest, the Southwest, and the West. And there are a lot of really good recipes in this book. Um, let's see here. See if I can show you. I really like the red beans and rice recipe, which I'm going to show you. Um, so each section starts with, I think, uh, like drinks and side dishes, and then main dishes, and then ends with desserts. But I really love the red beans and rice recipe. Ooh, the lighting is horrible. So I'm gonna show you many other recipes, and I love the chocolate chip cookie recipe. It is pretty much my go-to um, chocolate chip cookie recipe. Next up is The New Spanish Table by Anya von Bremsen. Um, this cookbook is pretty much collects the current or modern Spanish cuisine. Spanish cuisine has had a experienced something of a renaissance the last 20, 30 years, and it's quite exciting cuisine. Sadly, I haven't looked into this cookbook or made as many recipes from this cookbook as I would like. I really need to correct that in the not too distant future. So hopefully. The next cookbook has been one of my like the books that I really want in my collection. I had this book earlier in the first iteration of my cookbook collection, and that is The Glorious Foods of Greece by Diana Okillis. Um, so when I was in college, I was a member of a number of book clubs: the science fiction book club, the history book club, and the cooking book club. I don't quite remember what it was called, but it basically worked on book club principles. And I bought about 5 or 6 cookbooks from them, and one of them was The Glorious Foods of Greece, and I loved this cookbook. Absolutely loved it. I didn't make as many dishes from here as I would have liked. I still haven't. I really need to correct that. But some of the dishes I did make, I really quite enjoyed. I love the look of the cookbook. It doesn't have any pictures, which is a bit of a shame. I wonder if her more recent cookbooks, she has a number of cookbooks out now. I do have pictures, but anyway, I love this cookbook. I deeply regretted getting rid of it, and had been looking for a new copy ever since, and quite happy to have this back in my life, even if it is an ex-library copy. But, so yeah, anyway, I think I'm going to go and try to finish this up real quick. The next cookbook is Kali Kwan's Simple Chinese Cooking. I bought pretty much was inspired by my library. I think they had a copy for a bit. It's long since gone. And Kali Kwang is a Chinese Australian celebrity chef who had her own show in the late 2000s, maybe early 2010s, but I think definitely late 2000s. And I really would like to make some recipes from here, but I haven't yet. Next up is one of the seminal examples of Japanese cooking in the United States. In early, I think this came out in the 70s, although it's had a number of new releases since then, and that is Japanese Cooking: A Simple Art by Shizuo Tsuji. This is also one of those books that I really wanted in my collection. It was part of my second cookbook collection, and surprisingly, I got it from Golden's Book Exchange in Waco. And again, it's one of those cookbooks that I really should make more dishes of, particularly given that I have a fascination with Japanese cuisine. So I definitely really should make some dishes from there. I also have Martha Stewart's Baking Handbook, which I checked out from my library and adored and really wanted to have, and can't wait to make some dishes from. So yeah. And finally, I have Anna Garten's Barefoot Contessa's Family Style. Obviously, Anna Garten is a celebrity chef with the Barefoot Contessa. And I picked this book up largely because it has her oven-fried chicken recipe, which I really loved when I saw the episode and tried to make a version of it when I was in college, and really happy to have this book in my collection. So that was the cookbooks. I'll be back. So I'll upload this tomorrow on Tuesday, and then on Wednesday I will do the art books, and then we'll go on from there. So New BookTube, thank you. Have a great afternoon, because I'll be uploading this in Tuesday afternoon, and stay safe.